Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we have another crochet tutorial for the Amira cardigan. It's a cardigan version for the Amira sweater and it is an oversized cardigan which I love. So I hope you will join me and let's make this cardigan. For the Amira cardigan, I used Friends rainbow cotton, fingering weight cotton, paired with mohair, and I will be using a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. I do love the feel of thinner yarn worked with a bigger crochet hook, but if you want you can swatch with a different size hook, and into the written pattern you can find suggestions on how to adjust this cardigan according with your gauge. So I'm putting both strands together and I will work with them as this for the entire cardigan. And we will start with the back panel. I'm making a size small, so I will start with 85 stitches. If you will adjust this pattern, you will need a multiple of 3 plus 1 stitches to start with. So now let's make the foundation chain. And after I finish the foundation chain, I will chain 2 more and then work 1 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. Then we will skip 2 stitches and we will work 1 single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet into the same stitch. I call this stitch single crochet V-stitch because it's a kind of variation of a V-stitch. Then we will again skip 2 stitches and into the next work single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet into the same stitch. And we will continue to repeat this single crochet V-stitches until we have 3 stitches left. At the end of the row, we should have 3 stitches left, and into the last one we will work 1 single crochet, chain 1, and another single crochet into the same last stitch. And now we will need to chain 2. Pay attention to make this chains 2 as loose as possible because otherwise it will shrink your edges. And then into the 1 chain space work 1 single crochet. Then we will go into each 3 chain spaces and work this single crochet V-stitch. So 1 single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet into the same space. And we will work like this to the end of the row. Well, before into the last chain space, we will see how to finish this row right away. But for now, we will continue to work single crochet V-stitches into each 3 chain space. My daughter let me a heart on my desk. So into the last chain we need to go and see where is the single crochet, and into the chain after that single crochet we will work 1 single crochet, chain 1, and another single crochet into the first chain of the beginning 2 chains. And now again chain 2, again make them as loose as possible, and then turn and 1 single crochet into the 1 chain space. And we will continue to repeat this second row until we will have 39 rows in total. Or of course, if you want the cardigan to be longer, then you can work as many rows until you reach the desired length. So here you are free to go with any desired length that you want. So I will work 39 rows until I will finish the back panel length. After I finish 39 rows, we will start with the last row to straighten this edge. And I just chain 1 and turn, and then work 1 single crochet into the first 1 chain space. Then chain 2 and 1 single crochet into the next 3 chain space. And we will continue like this to the end of the row by working chain 2 and 1 single crochet into the 3 chain space. And we will finish the row with 1 single crochet into the last 1 chain space, and then we can cut the yarn and we will move further to the front panels. For the front panel, we will start with half number of stitches of the back panel, but we need to keep a multiple of 3 plus 1 stitches as well. So for size small, I will start with 43 stitches. Then we will chain 2, go into the 3rd stitch with a single crochet. Skip 2 stitches and then work 1 single crochet V-stitch in next. So for the first part of the front panel, the first 22 rows, or depending on the side or depending on where you want your V neckline to start, you need to work up to that length into the same stitch pattern as the back panel. And after that length, we will start to decrease for the front panel V neckline, but only on one edge. So now let's just continue to work into the same stitch pattern. So I have here 22 rows, and now for the rest 16 rows we will decrease. So the first round will be chain 2 as usual. The same, you should keep the chain 2 as loose as possible. And then we will skip the first 1 chain space and move to the 3 chain space and work a single crochet V-stitch. And then we will continue with the same stitch pattern. To the end of the row. So here at the beginning of the row, now we decrease with not 1 stitch, but just say a half of it. So now we have, instead of chain 2 and 1 single crochet into the chain space, we have chain 2 and directly 1 V-stitch. At the end of the row, we will chain 2 and turn and work the same stitch pattern until we get to that last 3 chain space. So we are not counting the chain 2. into the last 3 chain space, we will work 1 single crochet, chain 3, and then to keep that edge straight, I will go with a second single crochet of the V-stitch into that single crochet, that last single crochet. Now we will chain 2 and turn and work into the first 3 chain space, 1 single crochet. Then we will move and go further with the same stitch pattern to the end of the row. Then we will turn at the end of the row and work into the same stitch pattern until we get to that 1 chain space that is at the beginning of the row. And here we will work into that 1 chain space, so you have 2 chains and then a single crochet. So you go behind that leg of the single crochet and work 1 single crochet, chain 1, and then into the first chain work 1 single crochet. So now we completed a round of decreases. You saw that it has 4 rows, and now we will continue to repeat these 4 rows 3 more times. So we will have 16 rows that we will work like this. That will add up to those 22 that we worked at the beginning. So now that we finish this set, we will work 1 more row. And you can always use a stitch marker to place it into that 1 chain space if you find it difficult to find it, especially when you are on that, when working those decreases. You can use a stitch marker to mark that 1 chain space, that 1 last chain space where you will need to work the single crochet. So now I have the stitch marker and I know that I need to go right where the stitch marker is and to work 1 single crochet, chain 1, and then I will move into the first chain and work my second single crochet. Okay, we completed now all the sets of the decreases that we have, and we have 38 rows right now. So we will work 1 more row, which will be the 39 row, and we will work it as usual, so no decreases this time. So on the last row you won't need to decrease. You will have only 16 rows where you will make those decreases. And after we will finish this row, the row 39, we will work row 40, the same as we did with the back panel, to just straighten the edge, this shoulder edge of the front panel. So I just chained 1 and turn, and then single crochet into the first chain space, and then chain 2, 1 single crochet into the next 3 chain space, and we will continue until the last 1 chain space, and into the last 1 chain space we will work 1 single crochet. And with this row the front panel is done. You will need to repeat the same pattern for the second front panel, And then before going further to work the sleeves, we will need to join the front panels with the back panel on the shoulders. And I will show you right away how I did that. But for seaming, you can use any method that you find easier for you, either slip stitches or single crochet stitches, or simply using the yarn needle and sew those edges. I'm trying to leave a longer tail now. Maybe I will use it for seaming. Usually I am letting a long tail that is 3 times longer than the length that I need to sew. So these are the front panels now. As I said, you can work both panels the same, but one of the panels you will need to put it on the wrong side, facing the wrong side. It's good that this stitch pattern is the same on both sides, so you don't need to worry about the appearance of the stitch pattern. And now let's just join the shoulders, and then we can move further to the sleeves. Okay, so this is the back panel, and now we will lay the front panels on top of it. Both, well, it doesn't matter, but just to know that I'm seaming on the right side, so whatever you choose to be your right side, this is where you need to join these edges. And we will need to stitch that part of the shoulders. And here I am. I'm just using the cotton thread right now because there is no point to go with the mohair as well. I think it will be easier this way. And for joining the shoulders, I will just use the ladder stitch. I think you saw it in maybe in different tutorials. So to start with, I will go with the needle into the first stitch of my right side, which is in my right, from back to front, and then from front to back into the first stitch of the opposite side. I will make a knot here to secure this yarn, but I let a longer tail to weave in, and I will weaving in. And then I'm going with the needle into that same stitch and getting out into the second stitch from the same side. And then I will do the same on the other side. And then I'm going back into the same stitch from where my needle came out on the right side and get out on the next stitch, into the next stitch, and do the same on the other side. And we will keep weaving in the thread as like this until we will finish all the stitches. And we will proceed the same on the other shoulder, and then we will move further for working the sleeves. Okay, this is how the seaming is looking, and now I'm about to seam the other shoulder, and then we will move to the sleeves. Okay, so I marked the number of side rows that I need for my sleeves, the same number of side rows on one side, and the other, so on the back panel and on the front panel edge as well. I will rejoin the yarn into the first marked stitch, and we will begin working our stitch pattern. So we will start with chain 2. Again, keep this chain 2 as loose as possible, and then we will go into the same side row and work 1 single crochet, and then we will skip 2 side rows and work into the next 1 single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet. And then we will skip again 2 side rows and go into the next and work 1 single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet. And we will continue like this to the shoulder seam. We should have until the shoulder seam 8 full single crochet V stitches, plus the half or 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet at the beginning of the row. Well, actually, because it's the beginning of the row, we have only chain 2 and 1 single crochet. Okay, so I'm almost at the shoulder seam. I still have, I think, 1 more V stitch to go. Or maybe 2. I want to show you next to the shoulder seam because it's something different a little. So here is just the last side row before the shoulder seam, and I have a last side row there, and we need to work there also single crochet V stitch. And then we will skip only the shoulder seam and into the next, the first single crochet side row from the front panel edge. We need to work right in that one a single crochet V stitch, and then continue into the same manner, skipping 2 side rows and work into the next a single crochet V stitch until we will get to the end of the row, which will be the second stitch marker that we placed. And also on the front panel edge, you will need to have 8 full single crochet V stitches, plus that single crochet, chain 1 single crochet into the last side row. So here I am at the last side row, and I'm doing single crochet, chain 1 and single crochet, and then chain 2 and turn. And now we will continue to work into the same stitch pattern until we get to the desired length of the sleeve, or I worked in total 31 rows, and the last row will be to straighten the edge of the sleeve with that single crochet, chain 2 stitch pattern. So now let's continue to work the length of the sleeve, and we will meet at the final row to straighten the edge and then to work the cuff ribbing. Okay, I finished the length of the sleeve, and now we will work that final row to straighten the edge. So we just chain one and work one single crochet into the one chain space at the beginning, and then chain two and work one single crochet into the next three chain space. And we will continue like this to the end of the row, and we will finish the row with one single crochet into the last one chain space. So here is the last stitch, and now I will switch the hook size with a smaller one. This is a 4mm crochet hook, and we will start our cuff ribbing. So chain 3 and turn, and then we will work one double crochet starting with the second stitch, one double crochet into each stitch. We will finish with the last double crochet, and then we will chain 3. This chain 3 will count as a back post double crochet, and then we will work front post double crochet, and then back post double crochet, and we will alternate these 2 stitches to the end of the row. Now we will chain 3 and turn, and on this row I will work the first post, so one front post, and then I will make a decrease working the next 2 back post stitches together. Then I will work the next front post, back post, and again front post, back post. So basically 5 stitches, and then we will decrease again. So work the next 2 back post stitches together. And this time after the decrease we will work only 3 stitches. So this is the third, and then we will decrease again by working the next 2 back post stitches together. And then again we will work 5 stitches. So I alternated 5 and 3 stitches between the decreases to decrease a little bit more stitches to make this cuff narrower than the rest of the sleeve. Now, no matter how many stitches you have from the last decrease to the end of the row, the last 2 back post stitches will be a decrease. To make it symmetrical with the beginning of the row. And after this decrease row, we will continue to alternate one front post, one back post, double crochet stitch, and continue to work a few more rows until you have the desired width of the sleeve cuff of this ribbing. Okay, so after finishing this decreasing row, we will continue and work a few more rows to finish this cuff. And of course that you'll then the sleeve will be done, and you will have to repeat the same pattern for the second sleeve. Now it's time for assembling, so we will need to stitch the side edges, and to do that I will use the same ladder stitch. So I'm starting from the bottom hem, and we will continue until the sleeve cuff, so we will go in one single piece with the body side edges and then with the sleeves edges. And I'm using the same method as I used for the shoulders, only that this time we will go from side row to side row. We don't have the horizontal stitches as it was on the shoulders, but the method is the same. So I secure the yarn making a knot, and then I will go into that first side row and getting my needle out into the second side row. I will do the same on the other side, and then I will go with the needle right into the same side row from where my needle got out, and getting out into the second side row. And we will continue like this until we will finish with the seaming, and we get at the end of the cuff of the sleeve. You can place a few stitch marker from time to time to just make sure that your both sides are staying in place and they are not moving. And then after we finish assembling the sweater, we will move further to the bottom hem ribbing, and then the collar ribbing with the front panels at once. We will start first with the bottom hem ribbing, and we will be using the same pattern as for the cuffs, only that this time we won't decrease. So I'm using the same 4mm crochet hook, and we will go into each of the bottom stitches. First row will be in double crochet, and then we will alternate one front post double crochet with one back post double crochet, and we will do that and repeat that row for as many rows as we want until our ribbing will have the desired width. I will go with the same number of rows as for the cuffs. So I think I worked 5 rows in total there, so I will do the same on the bottom hem ribbing. So first I started with chain 3, and then starting with the second stitch, double crochet into every stitch to the end of the row. At the end of the row, we will chain 3 and turn. And we will start with a front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet. and we will continue to the end of the row. And work into the same pattern for as many rows as you wish until you complete the desired width of the bottom hem ribbing. After finishing with the bottom hem ribbing, it's time to work the front panels and collar ribbing. And if with the bottom hem we wanted to make it narrower than the bottom of the cardigan, with the front panels ribbing we want to have an even tension. So what we need to do is to calculate the proportion in between the ribbing gauge and front panel side rows edges. So I have 18 stitches per 9 rows, means that I have 18 stitches in the ribbing pattern per 10 centimeters and 9 side rows per 10 centimeter, or 10 if I'm measuring from the edging. So this will result in 1.8 and when dividing these numbers, and this means that I need 1.8 stitches into one side rows. And now I need to multiply until I have an even number. And in my case, it was multiplying by 5 and equals 9. This means that in 5 rows, side rows, I need to work 9 stitches in the ribbing pattern. So my pattern will be 2 stitches into the 4 side rows, the first 4, and into the 5th I will make only 1 stitch. Into the written pattern you can find all these explanations on how to calculate the proportion between the tension between the gauges, so it will end up with a nice and straight front panels ribbing. Into the side rows of the bottom hem ribbing I'm working 1 stitch, 2 stitches per side row because it's a double crochet side row. So I'm rejoining the yarn into the bottom stitch and then working 1 more double crochet into the first side row. You can have either a double crochet or chain 3. So here I have like a chain 3 as it looks like. So I will go with 1 stitch, 1 double crochet at the bottom and another double crochet on the top. And again, and we will keep this until we will finish with the side rows of the bottom hem ribbing, and then when we are getting to the side rows of the V-stitch pattern, then we will work for 4 rows 2 double crochet into each side row, and for the 5th we will go with only 1 double crochet. Okay, so now I'm getting at V-stitches side rows. So I'm doing 2 double crochet for the next 4 rows, side rows. Now 2. 3, this was the 4th. I hope that I counted right. And this was the 5th, and I went only with 1 double crochet, and I will repeat this until the opposite bottom hem ribbing around the neckline at the back, because we are working not into the side rows but into stitches. I will keep the same proportion, but there, if you feel like you want to work more stitches, I think it's easier than to realize on the spot if those double crochet are too apart from each other, then you can make work more stitches. And we will continue to finish this row like this, and then we will start with the ribbing pattern. And as you can see, it's nice and even, and it's straight. So this is how you are keeping or calculating the tension to have an even tension all around. So now, after the first setup round is done, we can start and work on our ribbing pattern. We will work for 2 rows, and then at row 3 we will need to make the buttonholes, because this cardigan will also have buttons. So let's work the first 2 rows, and then we talk about the buttonholes. Okay, so first we will decide on what size we want the buttons. So I will have the buttons on the right side, and on the left side I will make the buttonholes. So the first thing that I'm doing, I'm marking the first 2 stitches, because I will have 2 stitches per button right when the V neckline starts. And then I will place another stitch marker to mark the bottom button, so where I want the last button to be. And then the stitches in between, I will divide it by the number of the buttons that I have, counting also the top button. And this will represent the 2 stitches for 1 button and the stitches that are in between the buttons. Okay, so now I made the first buttonhole by chaining 2 and skipping 2 stitches. I'm trying on with the button to make sure that fits. And now I will continue to make the buttonholes. So here on the bottom, I want to let 3 or maybe 5 stitches a bit higher for my last buttonhole, and I will mark the 2 stitches that I want for the last button. So I have 5 stitches counting from bottom until the last button. And now I'm counting the stitches that are in between, and I won't count the last button. I will count only the stitches on top, or you can count the last one and not counting the one on the top. And the number of stitches that I have, I will divide them by 4, because this is the number of buttons that I have, and the result will be the number of stitches that I will allocate for 1 button, 2 stitches, plus the stitches that are in between buttons. If you don't have an even number, that's okay. You can divide the total number of stitches. So even if the segments won't be equal, it will be fine. You can adjust the number to have with 1 or 2 stitches or 2 stitches more, or you can adjust the last or the first button so you will have an even number of stitches that is divisible by 4, so you will have an even number of stitches in between the buttons. And once you set up all this stitch count and you know you're ready to go further, so now I will work the stitches in the ribbing pattern to the next buttonhole. So I have 4 stitches. Five, 6, 10. So now I have 10 stitches. 11, 12, 13, and now I will have a buttonhole. So I will chain 2 and I will skip 2 stitches. And this time I had only 12, so in between the buttons, so not 13, because I needed to adjust the number of stitches because I didn't have an even number of stitches. So this is totally fine. Either you're placing the last button a bit higher or a bit lower to adjust the number of stitches, or simply you go with 1-2 stitches less or more in between 2 buttons. So now we will continue. I think we have the last buttonhole left to work. Okay, so chain 2, skip 2, and then we will work the remaining stitches. Okay, don't forget the last double crochet into the 3rd chain, and then we will turn and we will work 2 more rows for this ribbing, or depending on how thick you want this to be. And on top of the 2 chains on top of the buttonholes, you will work on the next row just double crochet stitches, and then on the last row you can go with the ribbing stitch pattern. Let me show you right away on the first buttonhole that I have here. So now I worked the first 5 stitches, and now on top of that chain I'm working 2 double crochet stitches. And then of course continue with the same post stitch that you have after this buttonhole, and continue like this to the end of the row, and then work one more row to finish the bottom band, the button band. Okay, we are done with the ribbing, and now it's time to sew the buttons. It is a better idea to count the stitches and place the buttons in the same spot as the buttonhole, but usually I'm just simply trying. So first I'm making sure that both ribbings are one on top of the other. I'm placing a stitch marker to make sure that they are nice and even. The shoulders as well, I'm verifying that everything is straight, and then I'm taking the button and I will insert the button through the hole, and then let's see where it's laying on the right side of the cardigan, and then I am sewing the button like this. And I will do the same with all 4 buttons, and after you finish to sew the buttons, then you need to weave in all the ends, and after that I just washed it. Depending on if you're using the same fiber or a mix with mohair as I did, it really depends on the mohair and of course on your washing machine, because I washed it in the washing machine and nothing happened on a delicate program, but many other people found that their washing machine or their mohair makes for shading when they washed it. So I think it will be better to hand wash and then let it dry flat after squeezing all the water with the help of a towel. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you will make this Amira cardigan, and I hope you will like it. So thank you so much for being here with me for another tutorial, and see you next time. Bye!